President Trump in a short bilateral news conference a few minutes ago with the Prime Minister of India said this. He declared Iran, the deal is a wall to a nuclear war. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. We are now waiting for the president to speak at a formal news conference on that deal, potentially a lot of other things, but specifically that. And that could happen at any moment. The first in detail from the commander-in-chief since we first learned of the Memorandum of Understanding, reportedly kicking off a 60-day negotiation for final agreement. There would be a ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon. But it leaves out any mention specifically of Israel's withdrawing there. The Iran proxy terror group Hezbollah is who they're fighting in Lebanon. So we're still waiting to hear, will it actually include that? Iran would guarantee safe passage for ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and the United States would pause any new sanctions. Iran affirms no nuclear weapons, we're told, as part of the deal. Now, all of this has been reported after reported leaks of the 14-point deal. We still don't know what's in totality in the deal. President Trump, just a short time ago.
47 years, Iran took advantage of the world, the Middle East, but the world. Nobody did anything. The Obama deal was one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. It was a road to a nuclear weapon. My deal is a wall to a nuclear. You're not going to have it. It's a wall to a nuclear weapon. I think it'll be done. They want to sign. They want to get back to a normal life. You know, we hit them very hard.
And you saw the president there. That's from that bilateral that I mentioned that wrapped up just a few minutes ago. That was the Prime Minister of Modi with him there. He did take a few questions, the president, but that full-fledged news conference is upcoming. We're covering all of this from all angles. Vice Admiral John Fozzie Miller will join me in moments. First, let's go to Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst on the ground in Israel. Trey.
Harris, good morning. The signing ceremony for the Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran is just 48 hours away. It's difficult to confirm specific line items in the text because it hasn't been released yet to the public. We do anticipate getting more information in the hours and days ahead. White House officials say that recent documents that are circulating are not accurate. Reports do indicate the deal includes the resumption of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, an end to the U.S. naval blockade on Iran, and this negotiating window of 60 days about Iran's nuclear program. Now, the Iranians will receive tiered sanctions relief, and there will be a ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon. Vice President J.D. Vance was on the 5 last night and said this about Iran's ability to get sanctions relief.
So the United States wins either way. As the president said, either they get nothing, we destroyed their nuclear program and the Straits of Hormuz are open, or they fundamentally transform themselves, and that's a big win, too. It's really up to them.
The largest X factor here is Iran's nuclear program. Over those next 60 days, the details of the program are set to be discussed. But in the past, the Iranians have been unwilling to make serious concessions. President Trump said Tuesday the U.S. will go into Iran, get their highly enriched uranium, and destroy it. It's not clear if the Iranians have agreed to this point. At the G7 earlier today, the president also pushed back on reports about a reconstruction fund for Iran.
Well, it's been reported that it includes a $300 billion reconstruction fund funded by Gulf allies. That's false?
It's false. People, you can invest if you want. I mean, what am I going to do, say nobody's ever allowed to invest? No, we're not investing. We're not putting up 10 cents. And people can decide to do that, but that's up to them.
Here in Tel Aviv, we are tracking new reports of Israeli airstrikes against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. We don't know the exact language in this agreement as it relates to Israel's ability to take offensive or defensive action. Harris?
All right, real quickly on that, because that's been a sticking point, a big question about whether or not Israel would be part of this, and it's basically war with Hezbollah right now inside Lebanon. So what does that look like right now? Are they, in fact, evacuating those areas of southern Lebanon and northern Israel to continue that?
It's a great question. Right now, there are Israeli ground forces in southern Lebanon, inside Hezbollah territory. And again, reports indicate they are still conducting airstrikes against Iran's largest proxy. Now, last night, the IRGC threatened to bomb Israel if they continued these strikes. And we heard from Iran's foreign minister just 2 days ago saying that Israeli strikes against Lebanon would be a violation of the Memorandum of Understanding. And so a lot of details to be worked out here and questions about if the Iranians will hold up their end of the bargain.
All right,
Harris?
that's very, very important for my next discussion. Trey Yingst, always a great job. Thank you very much. A new opinion piece with this headline: emboldened Iran returns to nuclear talks. Tehran has learned it can survive the worst Washington can throw at it. The New York Post editorial board is arguing this part: Trump's Iran deal gives the Islamic Republic big wins up front and America nothing. And the Institute for the Study of War writes the leaked text of the agreement, if accurate, indicates that Iran has emerged from the conflict in a stronger strategic position. In focus with me now, Vice Admiral John Fozzie Miller, a retired commander for U.S. Naval Central Command, also U.S. Fifth Fleet Commander and Fellow at the Jewish Institute for the National Security of America. Great to see you. I want to get to this point because the president was just being asked, and we are expecting another news conference from him, so we will take it when it goes live. $300 billion reconstruction funds for Iran to be financed by regional powers. That's what has been written about this, but we don't actually have the deal. And moments ago, we played it for you. He says that is false. What's your first reaction to that?
Well, Harris, thanks for having me. It's great to be on with you. My first reaction to it is we ought to wait for the deal to be published to understand what's in it. And what we ought to be looking for are the original goals that were set out at the beginning of the conflict and how well we've done towards achieving those goals in the agreement. Can Iran have a nuclear weapon? Yes or no? Have we dismantled the Iranian ballistic missile program to a point where they can't marry a nuclear weapon to a ballistic missile? Yes or no? Are they still a malign influence in the neighborhood, either through proxies or by themselves? Yes or no? So those are the things we want to look for. One of the things we can be sure of is the best deal we're going to get with the Iranian regime as it currently sits is right now. As soon as they start making money, as soon as the blockade is lifted, they're going to be more difficult to deal with. And we have to keep that in mind as we move forward.
What do you think pushed it to this exact point in time? I mean, Israel's still fighting with Hezbollah. Trey Yingst was just reporting this. I wanted to press a little bit more on, whether or not that would break out into full war. And he said, well, Israel's now inside Lebanon, and the current situation is that the IRGC in Iran has now threatened to hit Israel if they continue defending themselves at this point.
We're spending a lot of time trying to understand what the Israelis are going to do and whether or not President Trump can rein the Israelis in. I really think we ought to put the ball in the right court here, which is in Iran's court. They're the ones that decide whether Hezbollah, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the IRGC, they're the ones that decide whether or not Hezbollah is going to be attacking and conducting military operations in Lebanon against Israel. So it's not an Israeli decision. It's an Iranian decision, and they can't have it both ways. They can't say the Israelis can't fight, but Hezbollah, we can direct them to fight. That's not going to work, and the Israelis rightly won't stand for that.
So are you saying that part of the agreement has to be present, that's got to be actually in a deal?
Well, I don't think the situation in Lebanon needs to be part of the agreement between the United States and Iran. This is an issue between Israel and Hezbollah, meaning it's between Israel and Iran. And so that's something that needs to be negotiated separately. But if the Iranians don't want conflict in Lebanon, then they just have to tell Hezbollah to stop fighting. Right. It's very simple.
Yeah, I know it's simple, but they never do it. Real quickly, just on that point, so if there is a red line around the IRGC hitting Israel, what happens to this deal, do you think?
Well, I think we can be confident that the Israelis will take care of themselves, and they're going to act in their own national interest, and we should expect that they do. So if the Iranians do strike into Israel, I think we can expect the Israelis to strike back. That doesn't necessarily mean the deal between the Iranians and the United States is no longer in effect. There's going to be a lot of tension along the way, particularly over the next 60 days as the details get negotiated, and we're just going to have to work through those.
Wow, this is fascinating. We are clearly on different missions now, the United States and Israel, and decidedly so if there's going to be a deal with Iran. That's what I hear you saying. We will cover it for every second. Great to have you. Thank you, as always.